guys, and welcome back to another video powered by Sparesbox. Today we're going to be doing some cheap power upgrades on a Nissan 180SX. I'm also going to be introducing my mate Jake Rice from Gourmet Bodyworks, who actually owns this 180. It's an awesome car. He's had it for around 5 years. It's only running around 170 kilowatt and doesn't have a lot of mods on it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be throwing on a aftermarket Pulsar turbo, a fuel rail kit, and probably not today because it's not here yet, but we're also going to be putting in a fuel pump and changing his fuel lines to get this car ready for E85. We're planning on getting this from 170 to around 250 kilowatt, and it's going to be tuned hopefully probably before Christmas, maybe? Hopefully, if the parts arrive next week. Yeah, cool. So we'll get this thing tuned up, hopefully making around 250. It hasn't got any cams in it, so I think pushing it any more than that would probably hurt the motor or be a little bit too much for it. It is only a small turbo. We don't want to run too much boost in it. Jake's had really good reliability with this motor. Nothing's gone wrong so far. So yeah, let's get stuck into it, eh? Alright guys, quick run through on the car. It's still got the stock T28, some aftermarket, pretty shitty manifold, not sure what that is.
Shitbox, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Stock injectors, stock rail, so we're going to be getting rid of that and putting in a aftermarket Tarx rail with 1000cc injectors. Chuck on that Pulsar 2867 Gen 2 turbo. They're around 950 bucks, pretty cheap and quite reliable. A lot of good reviews, and I know a lot of people that are actually running them as well. And a good thing about the Tarx fuel rail is buying side feed injectors to fit into a Nissan 180SX fuel rail is generally quite expensive. Nismo injectors are usually around 200 bucks each, and obviously you have to ship them from Japan as well. So the best thing to do is put an aftermarket top mount fuel rail in there, or top feed fuel rail, 1000cc injectors or whatever injectors you need for E85 or 98, depending on what power you're trying to make. Chucking that on, and you can generally do that for around 500 bucks, including the rail and injectors. So that would be the best upgrade for this. And obviously Jake is trying to save money. He has a lot of bills to pay.
Too many.
Not my bill, because I'm doing this for free for love.
It's called a favour.
Yeah,
for mates.
Massive favour, yeah. Alright, we'll get stuck into it. Rip the turbo off, get the fuel rail off, and throw these brand new parts on.
I'll sit on the lounge.
Cheers, mate. Alright guys, quick run through on the parts that we're throwing into Jake's car. We've got the 2867 Gen 2. Dude, I'm filming. Sorry guys, hey! Back to that. So we've got the Gen 2 turbo from PSR. He's chosen that, like I said, very cheap, around 950 bucks. Then we've got the Tarx top feed fuel rail kit. Comes complete with all your fittings and adapters for around $500. Comes with the adapters for the injectors, which are 1000 Bosch injectors as well, and everything that you need basically to install it in the car. You do have to buy the 90-degree 5/16 AN6 adapters to go on the rail, but this really comes down to what you will be using on the vehicle or what fuel line you'll be running. Alright, before we install the rail in the car, we have to put these adapters on, which will hold the rail to the intake manifold. Then we will get the adapters that will go into the ends of the rail. Next, we're going to put a plug in the center port here, as we're only running a single in and out. So we're not running a dual feed setup on this rail. Alright, next up is we're going to install the injectors onto the rail. We've got our adapters here. We need to run the rubber rings around the adapters. What we're going to do is we're going to grab some molly grease here, put the molly grease around the base of the injectors here, just to make it easier for these caps to slide over, and also it gives it a good seal. We're going to do the same with the molly grease on the top of the injectors. Alright, next up, we're going to install these into the rail. So gently jiggle them in so they don't get damaged. And we'll get the 5/16 AN adapters, put them on the sides here. We've We've got some adapters here and some spacers here, and the bolts are bolted on the car, as well as plugs here to plug it up and wire it all in. So let's get this on the car. All right, quickly remove the old seals. So these new adapters here. So we'll wrap the sealer on those. Grease around them. Alright, so the rail's on. We're going to now replace all the fuel lines coming in and out from the back of the tank. We've removed the factory fuel filter here, which is a Ryco fuel filter. We're replacing that with another Ryco fuel filter. It is going E85, so we're replacing all the hosing with Goss Fuel E85 fuel injection hose. And that will be obviously running from the fuel rail here back down to those metal lines that will go all the way to the back of the car. And Jake's pulling off the rubber hoses right now that are under the tank, so we've got to replace them as well, and then jump straight into putting in the brand new pump. So now at the back of the car, we've got the Walbro 460 fuel pump that we got from EFI Solutions, or also known as Tarks. And we're going to be installing that in the factory holder there, removing his old 255. We've already got the new fuel hose here, so once that's done, we can bolt this back in and get the car running. We've got the turbo mock fitted on the car. This is the factory intake pipe that Jake was using beforehand, and this is his intercooler piping that was already here as well. We're going to chop that off there, and we've got some parts here. We've got a donut and some cast alloy bits to weld onto here and here, so that will all match up. We shouldn't have to modify too much here as well, which is good. And we've got Dib over there on the welder, and Jake kickboxing my dog, and he's going to be welding everything up for us. So let's get into it.
Oh my god!
Yeah. That hurt?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh. Oi! How do you feel?
That's it, that's on.
Where do we go from
Oh, I need a
here?
fix head though, not a flathead.
Don't let it fool you. Everything's gonna be alright.
Oi, Jake, what's for lunch? Last thing is to top the coolant up, as we have lost quite a fair bit removing all the water lines on the turbo. Everything's been mounted, manifolds on, turbos on, all the water lines and everything are connected up and they're in. Boost controllers plumbed in, and all the intercooler pipes have been bolted up as well, and as well as the intake pipe. Now, just as a recap, the turbo was around $1,000. Some of this piping and other items we had to order, including the Aeroflow water and oil line kit for the turbo, that was around $200, plus the drain kit was around $120. And we obviously had to buy a few pipes and a few clamps, so it came up to around $500 for all that stuff as an additional cost to getting the turbo and to getting the injector rail. And look, everything's bolted up and we're gonna go for the first start right now. Easy, straight away. So we've got the 1000cc injectors in there now. It's running E85, sitting around 40 psi base pressure. And yeah, it's running really smoothly. So obviously it needs to go off and get tuned now, but it's running pretty nicely. Sounds good. How good? All right, let's get it tuned. Well guys, as you can see, the car is sitting around the 240 kilowatt mark on around 18 psi. Like I said, standard engine, standard camshafts. If we throw in aftermarket camshafts in the future, it will probably sit around the 260 kilowatt mark for sure. However guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the cheap power upgrade that we did on Jake's 180SX. If you guys want to see any other content like this in the future, or have any questions about the content that we filmed on this car, drop it in the comments below. We're doing heaps of Schassis content this year, really excited. If there's anything you want to see, make sure you let me know, give me some feedback, and we'll see you guys at the next video.